Now, let's take a deeper look at your brand message and how it can be tailored for different occupancy goals. As we stated, marketing campaigns create an expectation based on your messaging. People respond to different messages for different reasons, whether they are amenities, lifestyle, financial, or some other key facts that connect with them personally. To use your marketing campaigns to address occupancy concerns, you first have to understand what product you want to sell the most. Each one of these products will appeal to a different consumer segment within your PMA. The idea that you can market a studio apartment to every lead in your prospect database is flawed. That's where the practice of hyper-targeting comes into play. Hyper-targeting is a combination of 4 key factors: audience segmentation, product segmentation, sales promotion, message segmentation. And it works best with your direct marketing efforts. You can match a product to an audience and present an offer designed specifically to generate a response. It makes those efforts more effective and efficient. You may already have a list of viable leads or a newly purchased direct mail list. It's simply a matter of segmenting that list based on specific audience characteristics. The practice of hyper-targeting does require that you make certain assumptions about your audience based on basic generalizations. For instance, let's say you have a high number of empty 2-bedroom with a den apartments. Generally speaking, they are best suited to couples who would like more living space. Sure, you might have some single people who would move into a 2-bedroom with den, but generally speaking, more couples than singles occupy these apartments. The age of your target audience also varies based on the average age of your current residents. We all know how difficult it is to get a 70-year-old couple to move into a community with a resident population that has aged in place. So in terms of audience segmentation, if the average age in your community is 88, you may want to sort your lists to target couples 82 and older as opposed to those in their 70s. When it comes to the promotion or offer, again, we need to make certain assumptions. Since we are targeting couples, it's best to incentivize them to pick up the phone by providing a compelling sales promotion they can relate to. Second person free for the first year, a $12,000 value, or buy 2 bedrooms and get a free den. This is the key role of your marketing campaign, not to make the sale, but to get your audience to reach out and identify themselves so you can begin the sales process. So that's the concept of hyper-targeting. Simply tailor your product and your promotion to your segmented audience. Now all you have to do is craft a campaign around your brand message. What makes the practice of hyper-targeting so effective is that you can run multiple campaigns at the same time. Because you are segmenting your lists and lead base with demographic criteria, you can use direct marketing to send out multiple messages at the same time without the fear of overlap. If you need to increase occupancy in smaller apartments and studios, for instance, you could target single individuals with a low price point message and a strong financial incentive. Now that you've used marketing to establish your brand message and get prospects to respond through a unique brand promotion, what's next? How many times have you heard your salespeople tell you that if they can just get a prospect on campus, their odds of making a sale go up dramatically? In the end, it's that brand experience, not just the brand message, that directly relates to the conversion of a lead into a prospect and a prospect into a resident. So what's the best method for getting people onto campus? One of the most effective ways to get someone to visit your community is through engagement marketing. This approach employs a strategy of getting consumers actively involved with your brand in a manner that makes them want to continue the sales process. And what's the best way to do that? Through events that are high in value and low in commitment. High-value events present information, performances, and topics that connect with your prospects. The traditional informational seminar is rarely considered high value, unless they already have interest in your community. Low commitment means essentially no expectations, except to show up, enjoy themselves, meet some people, and feel good about their experience. It's a low-pressure environment. When was the last time you voluntarily went to something you knew was a high-pressure sales environment? This type of event makes your prospects more receptive to repeat visits since the initial experience was positive. And a recent industry study says that in this economy, it takes 30% more contacts with prospects to convert them to residents. So rather than just hold another open house, host a Sunday brunch and browse. It's essentially the same thing. It's just a little more retail and is packaged and presented in a manner that is perceived to be low in commitment. Prospects get to experience the community, enjoy the food, look around, learn about the benefits, maybe make new friends, and leave on a high note willing to come back for more. You can host a movie night, or if you have a fabulous chef, create an event around that person. Invite local authors for book signings. Mix it up and keep it fun and interesting. Most importantly, keep the interests of your prospects in mind. Art, literature, history, and travel will potentially have more appeal and generate a greater response than a seminar on the value of your entrance fee model. People don't want to be sold, and if they feel like that's exactly what you're trying to do, they'll look elsewhere for answers to their questions. Perhaps one of the most important benefits of hosting events like this is publishing the success from that day, the photos, the sounds, and the story. That's where social media can come into play. When a prospect, adult, or child learns that they can visit your community's Facebook page to view pictures and videos from an event, they most likely will. Everyone loves to see pictures of themselves and forward them to friends, so take plenty. Social media really should be considered another channel for distributing your brand message, and it's based on one of the oldest and most successful forms of advertising, word of mouth. Best of all, you get to establish an ongoing relationship with your customer that you control, from the creation of the page to the content, and for the most part, it's free. Comparatively speaking, of course. So once you break it down into messaging, promotions, and experience, it's easy to see how you can use your brand to help overcome your occupancy challenges. And when you layer the benefits of hyper-targeting and engagement marketing over this simplified process, you can realize significant returns on your marketing expenditures. With proper tracking methodologies in place, you should be able to bring in qualified prospects well below the industry average of $500 per lead, which leads us to the next big question we're often faced with. How much should I budget for all of this? It doesn't matter how similar, no two communities are going to have the same marketing budget. A marketing budget is based on so many factors that a large budget for one community might be a small budget for another of similar size and revenue. Often in an operational community, management will look at the total number of unoccupied residences and determine what that means in lost revenue. Is $250,000 too much to spend to achieve $1 million in entrance fees? That all depends on the mindset of the board, the CFO, and the sales and marketing staff. Some might feel it's too much, while others feel it's not enough. To break it down into the simplest terms, let's say you had $100 to spend for marketing communications. What percentage should go into packaging your message, and how much should be allocated for distributing your message? Generally speaking, the packaging of your brand message is contained in logo development, collateral materials, a website, stationery, and videos. Every company has to package their product or service to sell it. You're just lucky because you don't need to shrink wrap or blister pack yours. Distribution is how and where you deliver that brand message to your audience. That includes print advertising and broadcast media, direct mail, pay-per-click campaigns, and events. This is where your go-to market strategy is important, and every sales-driven business needs one. Taking a best practices approach to budget allocation, 35 to 45% of that $100 would go to packaging of the brand message. The remainder would be used for printing, postage, media, and other out-of-pocket costs. Now, of course, this is not an exact science. If you are an operational community and already have a well-packaged brand, you can allocate more toward distribution and turn up the volume of your message. Conversely, a new community may find it necessary to spend more upfront on packaging and brand development just to get their foundation elements produced. Both hyper-targeting and engagement marketing require the distribution of your message to drive action from your audience. There's no point of putting ink on paper if it's going to sit on a shelf and have no effect. That's an important lesson to keep in mind. When managing a limited budget, or any budget for that matter, only produce response-based marketing campaigns that are going to generate inbound activity and a return on your investment. And by return, we mean leads. So let's take a look at the big picture one more time to make sure we all understand how you can use your brand to overcome occupancy challenges. First, employ hyper-targeting to deliver a well-defined brand message and brand promotion to a specific audience. Then you use engagement marketing to get prospects to your community so you can deliver a positive brand experience, which makes your sales efforts more focused and effective. When implemented correctly, it's as simple as A plus B plus C equals sales. And sales equals occupancy. And you can take that to your banker. So there it is, how to use your brand to overcome occupancy challenges. Not as daunting of a task as you might have originally thought.